Well, we are back at the Corvette. So if you guys remember a couple videos ago, we were down at Cavalcade and we helped save or get this car back to par for the show. This car actually it won 3 awards. One of them was first place for Cavalcade. Pretty impressive. Owner said he'd like to contribute part of that. Obviously, we didn't have a lot to do with this. We came in and finalized it. That's about it. Got it ready and prepped for the show. So apparently our work was good enough, we give award-winning details. Imagine that. I could never imagine that. So with that said, we are fortunate enough, and the owner, if you remember him, super nice guy, he went, you know what, Todd? Been talking about this. I think I actually want to do a ceramic coating. So we didn't get to do that at the show. We just came in and polished it, and then we put something, a glaze enhancement on there, minimal protection for this vehicle. So for this magnitude of vehicle, for this magnitude of paint, we want to make sure that we protect it with the highest level of protection that we can get. Now, Jim and his wife asked about a 10-year coating, and I went, that's fine and dandy. We can go with a 10-year coating, and you can go with a 10-year coating on something like this. There's nothing wrong with that. I encourage it, but let's be realistic about it. This car is most likely not going to be driven on a daily, it's not going to be a daily driver. Let's cut it at that. Because it's not a daily driver, do you really want to put that level of protection on it? Well, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with spending that kind of money if you want to do that, but let's be realistic about it. So our 1-layer 7-year coating will protect this for a very long time, and you have to remember that ceramic coatings are subjective. So if you put on a 5-year coating on a car like this, and it sits in a garage environment like he has, that coating could very well go 10 years because it's not exposed to the elements. That's where the coatings come in. So waxes, they will dissipate. Polymers will dissipate. Coatings, they stay. They don't go anywhere. Now, with that said, our 7-year coating is really, really durable. We actually multi-layer up. Some places do a single layer. That's okay to do for them. For us, if we are going to offer a lifetime coating or what is considered a 10-year coating, we'll come in day after day. Now, we're happy to do that, but at the same time, we're pretty far out of our element. We're over an hour and a half away from our home. Yeah. And the only reason we came up here is because, would you come up here for this? This is an awesome car. We want to be a part of this. And this is why we want to make sure we do the best job that we possibly can. So what we have to do, we don't have to go, obviously we're not going to wash it because the wheels are off of it. And he took the wheels off of it because I requested, hey look, we're going to do this, take the wheels off, so we can get the rims, so he'll be protected on the rim front of it. As long as he's protected on the rim front of it and the paint front of it, then he's good to go. He's good to go for shows that he takes it to. It's going to be easier to maintain. The gloss is going to stay. It's going to be less scratch resistant, or more scratch resistant. So there's going to be a lot of advantages to the coating. On top of that, it's going to uptick the gloss. So we're going to get the gloss even more shiny. We're going to get the gloss ticked up even more on this. So generally, if you have a good coating, get it? A good coating. We're actually going to be using our first production run of our good coating on this. That's how confident we are. We will shortly be offering this for sale on our website. Now, I would be very, very, very cautious. If you are a novice and have never done a coating before, I don't recommend you grabbing our 7-year coating right from the get-go. That is, if you've never worked with it before, you can get a mess very quickly
Definitely.
Just by one layer, and it's no fun trying to get this stuff off. Generally has to be wet sanded if there's a mistake to get this off. So we don't want to have that problem in this car.
Definitely.
So we're taking our time, we're doing it diligent. Now it's got a little bit of dust on it. There's a couple areas that we missed, but we also have to get everything that we put on at the show. We put a mild protectant on the show. We need to get that off. So the very first step that we're going to go through, I'm going to be working on the paint. Tyler's going to be working on the rims like he usually does. That's his realm. He's going to get done with those and then hop back on and help me with finish out with the paint. So as we were getting it prepped for the show, there was a couple areas that had some scratches in it and stuff like that. But we were also on a deadline. They were kicking us out of that building at 8 o'clock, and the next morning we weren't allowed to touch this. So we did the best job we could in the time frame that we had to work with. That's okay. Now we're coming back and we're finding every little spot that may have been missed, that the judges missed. And they're no real big deals if you're not looking for it, or even if you are looking for it, it's tough to see these. I know they're there. Jim may not even know they're there, that he might, doesn't matter. We're gonna settle it for him. We're gonna go through in every little corner and pit and pieces of this car. We're gonna make sure it's up to the level it should be. And it already is, so we don't have to do a lot. We just gotta strip what's there, clean it properly, get it prepped for the coating, and then we'll get on with the coating. So this is gonna be a fun one, and we can't wait to get started. So you can see some rub spots, and you can see a clear line right there. We blended it in for the show, but after we got it cleaned, we knew there was a problem there. There's a little bit of, not much, but it's enough to be there. So, like I said, right there, around the mirror, that's a tough spot, but we were flying through to make it for the show. The rest of the door looks outstanding there. You can see, the rest of the door looks outstanding. You can see right there. Now, I know that you've seen us do this before, so we'll go around the car with the paint light, and as opposed to us guessing where stuff is, we'll mark it. We know there's a problem there, we know there's a problem there, we know there's a problem there, we know there's a problem there. Now, we've already gone around the car with our paint light. We know what it looks like in different lights, we know what it looks like in different colors. With that said, you go around it, you mark it where it's at. That way you know which spots need to be done. When we go through and clean it with the wax and grease remover, because we don't know who else touched this before us, we could have just like finalized what they had there and had like a filler in there, like a body filler. Clearly we don't want any body fillers, or paint fillers, I'm sorry. Clearly we don't want any paint fillers in it. The other thing is that she was talking about the windshield. Now I don't know if it's still there, they may have solved that. But if they did, we want to make sure, we want to know that that's solved. We want to make sure there's no film there on the window, because there was a problem with the window, so we want to make sure we got that taken care of. So we'll go around, we'll hit each and every one of these little spots to make sure it's good. We'll hit it with wax and grease remover, and then once we get done with the wax and grease remover, before we even begin with the alcohol, or the IPA, before we even begin with the IPA wipe down, what we will do is go back and double check our work and make sure that there's nothing there. So when we lay the coating down, everything under it is perfect. The coatings don't hide anything. So we have to make sure everything's perfect before we lay our coatings down. Okay, so it looks clean. We're doing a waterless wash on it, like I said. So I just did the upper half here, just a quick wipe down on it. and I'll show you guys how to do this properly. But one pass. I don't think we have to say anymore. This is why we make sure, because if you get that into those pads, there's going to be a problem. So we want to make sure that we get this nice and clean before we go any farther. This is our very first step. Now, after I get done with the waterless wash, in case there's any more surfactants on it, we're going to go over it again. Not once, but twice. Next pass is going to be with a wax and grease remover. So if we got the dust off. Now, if there's any wax or polymers or synthetics or anything like that on the paint, we're going to pull that off. And just to make sure that there's no residue from the wax and grease remover, this is where we come in with an IPA wipe down. Fresh side, so that's nice and clean. Straight down. It looks really clean. One pass. Two pass. Let's get in there. Using the very edge. So every spot, there it is, right there. Every spot that we use. Usually you want to get one panel, but sometimes you get one panel filled up in one side. So you can still see some of the dirt residue left over. This is why we go over this. So you're kind of washing it with this in some aspects. You can see it dissipate pretty quickly after we get done wiping it down. When we really want to buff, we're just doing a light pass on. So I'm laying it down, and as I'm going, I'm rolling the microfiber. Every side fresh. And the reason you do it this way is if there's any dirt, you're not digging it in there. You're just picking it up with the microfiber. That's the objective on this, to make sure that you're not digging dust into the paint. Okay, so Jim asked me, owner, he asked me about using a duster. So when the car's sitting in an environment like this, dust falls on it, and proven, proven. I mean, you can see. So this is what came off of this clean looking car. So the problem is with dusters, and here's the problem. So you have dry dust on top of the paint. Then you have this microfiber that you've used a couple times. It's a duster, okay? Dust accumulates, dirt gets into that. It's small, it's tiny, it's a little bit. But then you have dry dust on top of that paint. And when you have dry dust on top of that paint, as you're moving it along, what happens is those microparticles of dust start to scrape into the paint. Anything that's in that duster starts to scrape into the paint. This is why I don't recommend dusters. It is better if you can air blow the dust off or do a waterless wash like what we're doing. Once a car is coated, then you can, just rinse it off, Now the nice things with a coated car, if it's a light dusting, kind of like what this one is, it'll accumulate on the paint a little bit. But when you go to drive it, that air is just, by driving it, is gonna pull that dust right out. Now when a wax is sitting there, what happens is that wax will actually get hot, or it changes, it's viscous, meaning that it's not solid. So what will happen is that dust and debris starts to set into a wax and or a polymer. And this is where the advantage for a coating comes in. So not only are you protecting the paint, but you have something that's going to reject dust, reject dirt. It's going to have a static electric charge to it to repel things like that. Doesn't mean that it doesn't get dirty. It just means that you're encapsulating what we have so it stays that level. So this is why you don't use dusters. That would be the proper way to care for something like this. So one of the worst spots on a car, and it's always the high-end cars like a Corvette like this one, or Ferraris, and there's so many of them, and they always put this curve somewhere. It's like it'll be back in the hood or up top or whatever, but they put this horrible curve in the body right there. And almost every one of them you'll see like where somebody's come along with a buffer and they've gotten to that groove, and it is such a bastard to get that area out. You almost want to walk away from it. It sucks. So if you have a car like this and you got one of these beautiful body curves on it, don't scrub in there. don't scratch that. But that is like the softest area. Like you want to keep that area right there in that curve. You want to keep like the softest, like barely touching there. There's no reason to go hard. And the other places right in there too. That little curve right in there. That's a horrible spot. So if you own one of these cars, man, there's no reason to scrub hard down in that corner. Okay, so this side we have wiped down completely. So there's no waxes on here, there's nothing. And even with that, you can still see that you got to be real careful. Right here, I don't know if you can see it or not. Definitely see it a little bit more. So when we were at the show, we put a protectant on here. We've wiped it down. We've done, a waterless wash on it, but then we came along with a wax and grease remover. So even with the wax and grease remover, you can still see that there is residue left. I'll go over that one more time. And this isn't necessarily our protectant that we put on here. But it could be just the surfactants and the wax and grease remover. So you think that the paint's looking good, and you stand far away, you're like, hey, everything looks good. But then you get up close and you start to look at some areas, and you can see this. I know you're catching those lines on paint, so let's get that cleaned up. Okay, so we are on our final steps of wiping this down before we start to attack a couple of the spots that are around here. And here's vitally important. So we did a wax and grease remover to get on the protectant that we put on at the car show. We did an IPA wipe down, but the overspill from it, look, you can see right there at the top edge. So that is not dirt, that is not film, that is actually leftover protectant, aka our synthetic hybrid wax. Really good stuff, but if you get a good wax and grease remover, that's exactly what it'll do. It'll remove the wax and grease. Now this area is done, the roof's done, half the hood's done, and even with half the hood, you can see this side's cleared, so it's stripped. It doesn't have any type of protectants on it. But you go to this side, you start to look really close. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. I hope you do. But right up the strip, you can see a little bit over there. So if you have any wax or polymers or anything like that left on the paint and you go to apply your coating, something like that can screw up your whole day. So you got to be really diligent to make sure you get every last little bit of that kind of stuff off the paint before you apply coating properly. Okay, so we got that side all prettied up. And we'll go over it again one more time. Now this is where we check on everything, because we got everything stripped, so you can't hide anything on this. So if we look really close, I know it's here because I saw it right. And it's the same spot we had before, but the stuff that I used, it was appropriate. There it is. There it is. I hope you guys see that. One there, one there. So this is why we got these paint marks marked, so we can see, hey look, let's get it to perfection. And little things like that are what makes perfection. So hard to see. There's one. And there's another one. It's not bad. I pretty well got him out, but let's go for gold. Okay, quick update. Tyler is done with the rims. This gentleman likes his flat tire shine, so we will leave it at a flat tire shine, but the rims are done. The upper cap is done, front windshield done, and the hood is done. Now, we've been here, it's like close to 6 o'clock at this point. We were here right around 10:30 this morning, kind of give you guys an idea. Just look at that hood. That's beautiful. Say hi, guys. Hey, what's up? So we're gonna go ahead and finish out, and I am almost dead as far as my camera battery goes. So when we get done completed, we'll walk around one more time, just kind of show you guys everything. But it is more beautiful than what it was at the show. It is better than what it is at what it was at the show. And keep rocking with it. Tyler has the calipers coated and around the rims of the rotors. So yeah, pretty thorough coating here. So after hours and hours of finalizing and pinpointing and all that, it is obviously done. It looks beautiful, coated. So now Jim won't have to wax this probably for the rest of the life of the car because of the nature of how it's treated. With that said, it's a beautiful car, obviously. We've already won a trophy, so we're already prize winning, but think about that. So we didn't even put a coating on it. All we did at the show was polish it out and make the paint look good. Clearly, it passed, and I'm going to show you. This is the way this thing ended up. I guess what I'm saying is that now with the coating on it and looking as beautiful as it does, we won a car show without a coating. So we just took this to the next level. So award-winning. And now it's even better. So I guess what I'm saying is what we did at the show was good enough for the judges not to see and pass. Now, if anyone wants to scrutinize, they can. And I don't think they have anything to scrutinize on. I mean, just look at some of the gloss on this thing. It is crazy glossy. Again, this is with our new formula. It will be sold on our website by the time this video is up and seen. You'll be able to click on the link above or down below, wherever it may be, and purchase this coating. This is an extremely difficult coating. I forewarn you, it is not for the lighthearted. It's not a crystal serum light or G-Technic or I don't know whatever else they have out there. All I know is that I know what our coatings do. I've had them tweaked from the company that we were getting from, so I know for a fact that what we have is the best on the market. That's what I'm claiming, and I'd like for anyone to challenge. And if anybody says it's not, you didn't install it right. So with that said, this concludes this video of this beautiful Corvette. And all I know is the next one coming is the Nova. Cannot wait. Just look at that. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Beautiful. So we are back again on the Corvette. So a few weeks ago we coated this vehicle, and you can see we're out again. The reason we're out again is we're going around and checking our work. We double check our work. That is a major thing. A lot of places don't do that. They slap a coating on, they kick you out the door, see you. And the only time that you talk to them again after that is either you're coming back to get a car wash from them or there's a problem. And most places, They get done with it, they call it a day, it's a wave by. So we don't do that. We come back and double check our work. If there's a problem with anything that we see, we'll go over the coating again. And we're just, again, double checking our stuff. The other thing that we will do, especially on something like this, we're gonna put what they call a sacrificial layer on it. So the sacrificial layer would be considered something more like what you guys would think was a wax or like a spray-on coating. What we're gonna put on is, again, our sacrificial layer. This is our year-long coating. We can put this over. It's not a wax, it's actually a coating. SiO2 heavy on that. We'll apply it over our coating. This will be our sacrificial layer. In a year or so, it'll wear off if he's driving it, which he probably won't be. But weather elements, heat dissipation, all that kind of stuff take play on that. So it'll eventually wear away where the coatings will stay. That's great. A year or so when he decides, hey, we need to touch up on this, then we come back out, we reapply our sacrificial layer, and our sacrificial layer is really good. But that's what that is. It's a sacrificial layer to protect the coating. It's just double checking our work and making sure that it lasts as long as it can. Just about reject the sacrificial layer. I mean, it literally just about rejects it. So what we do pick up with this is minute. When we do a regular car and we're applying this as, you know, our protection coat, we'll do 2 to 3 sprays per panel. This one I do like a half a squirt because that's all it's going to take. It just kind of rolls off the top. That's kind of nice about this. As Jason's finishing up, we noticed something that we're going to bring up to them because this definitely wasn't there last time. With that said, everything looks beautiful. Like I said, I glassed it out. I think we nailed it on that. I wish you guys were here to actually see this thing. It is crazy, ridiculous, shiny. But we are all done. This thing looks gorgeous, beautiful. Jim is very, very happy. We are very, very happy with the results. And again, I think we got a couple more to go for him. It's just getting up here to get the time to do it. We thoroughly enjoy our time spent with Jim and Gene. I really like these people. And I really like their taste in cars, but definitely nailed it on this one. And that's it, guys. Ready to win some more shows. And we appreciate the work.